to US and as compared to Western these European nations. Another thing is we are getting kind of a subsidy from Europe, from these European nations, so that they can counter the difference of the prices from the supply from where they are getting right now and from Russian supply.
So, these economic sanctions by the US, are these a long term? Will these be long term? Since the European nations cannot be further dependent on oil supply from Middle East.
No, actually there is no time period attached to these kind of things. When, if just take a hypothetical situation, if over a period of time, Europe is already in recession. If over a period of time, the gas supply increase their cost of production, that will decrease their profit, then they have to take a stand. So currently there is no timeline till what date these imposed sanctions will be. Maybe over a period of time they will relax. Maybe over a period of time they will have a deal with Russia. So nobody knows about these kind of things. They will be having meetings depending on the economic scenario, depending on other situations. So it depends on number of factors. There is no timeline to that particular thing. Any other question on New Cold War? Another thing, another problem, another issue I can say is in the Middle East, West Asia. So most of the times we got confused what exactly means the West Asia, what exactly makes the Middle East, what exactly makes the Gulf countries or the Arab countries. So first we have a look what is the difference and what all countries make these groups, so that we can better understand about the issues in these regions and how these issues are affecting the interest and the interest of India basically. So what is West Asia? Just have a quick look on the countries which are in Asia, West Asia. West Asia, as the name indicates, it is the westernmost region of the Asia with a group of about 20 countries. So just have a look about these countries. If we have a look on these, Georgia, Armenia and Azerbaijan, these was the ex-USSR allies, ex-USSR countries, and they form the part of West Asia. But when we come to the Middle East, just have a close look. These countries, Georgia, Armenia and Azerbaijan, they are not part of Middle East. In fact, Egypt, which geographically is part of Africa, they are part of Middle East. So just a quick difference, West Asia, group of 20 countries which are forming geographically part of Asia. But Middle East doesn't include 3 countries of Asia, but includes one country, that is Egypt of Africa. That makes the Middle East, which is a group of 18 countries. Just have a look so that I can move to the next slide. The same countries, only addition is Egypt, which is part of Africa. And these 3 countries, they are not part of Middle East. That is the major difference. Can I move? Another difference, another confusing thing is Arab world and the Gulf countries. As the name indicates, Arab world. So these are the countries having Arab population who are speaking Arabic and having the same ethnicity. So the binding factor in Arab world is language and ethnicity. So it is a group of 21 countries comprising of West Asia and North Africa. So you have a look at the countries. Some of the countries are the same which were in the West Asia. Apart from that, there are some countries in the Northern Africa. Earlier they were about 22 countries, but because of Syria issue, Syria have been removed from this group. It's a regional group basically. And now they are about 21 members. From this Arab group, if we have a look at the Gulf countries, Gulf country is a part of this Arab world which are in the Persian region. If you have a look in the right side, that is a Persian Gulf. The countries, the countries of the Arab world which are surrounding or bordering the Persian Gulf, they make the Gulf countries. So it is group of 7 countries. So I can say Arab world is a larger group which is on the base of ethnicity, on the base of language. This Gulf countries, they are kind of a subgroup of the Arab world which are bordering the Persian Gulf. I hope the difference is clear. Just have a look on the countries also. Gulf countries are more important for us because we have a large number of Indian workers working in these countries, and we are dependent kind of on the Gulf countries for our oil imports. I hope these all terms are clear to you: West Asia, Middle East, Arab world, and Gulf countries, and what are the difference in these groupings basically. Now, important question is why Middle East is important for India. First, these Middle East countries, they are the oil economies, and India, which is on the path of their industrial development, they need oil and gas for their industrial development, which in turn will help for their economic development. So we are dependent on Middle East for our oil supplies. Second thing, as I mentioned, yes.
Sir, as far as the exporters of crude oil to India is concerned, like what is the composition, what is the percentage share of different countries, like biggest country, the second?
In that sense, Saudi Arabia, we are getting the largest from Saudi Arabia. Earlier it was, second number was Iran also, but when US imposed some sections on Iran that you cannot buy oil from Iran, it has changed. But apart from this composition changes year to year also, depending what kind of deal we are getting from these countries. It keeps on changing. But yes, the biggest partners are Saudi Arabia, UAE, these are the biggest partners for India. So apart from dependence of India on these countries for energy, oil and gas, we have large number of Indian workers who are working in these countries. So for their safety, for their equality in the sense that they will get a good treatment, fair treatment from the government of these countries. So we want to have a good relation with the Middle East, and how the workers who are working there, they are helpful for India, that we are getting a major source of remittances from these people who are working here. India is the number one country in the sense the largest number of remittances are coming to India all over the world. So these NRIs, these workers who are working there, they are also important for the economic point of view for India. So
So do we also have a price contract which locks in the price for like India is not able to fully utilize the drop in prices because we are still buying oil at previous prices? Like what is that exact contract in which country? What is the duration? Can we have some?
actually these are very technical things. What contract and all these kind of these are very technical things, and in the oil diplomacy, the things which will be coming later on, we'll try to cover these kind of points. But these, like what is the duration, what is the price, these are kind of a technical thing, and which keeps on changing also. And as you are saying, the price are not able to get the benefit. We are taking benefit, but maybe we are not able to utilize properly because we have long-term contracts. So maybe we are signing contracts today that will help in India in future also.
Sir, are there different type of crude oils also?
Different type of crude oils.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about this particular thing because the quality we are getting from one country, it has some variation, but I'm not sure about this. So there are two important factors why Middle East is important for India. One is energy gas, second is Indian workers and the remittances which we are getting from these, and third angle is the cultural linkage. When I am saying the cultural linkage, India itself has a good Muslim population. So if we have good relations with these countries, this will also satisfy the cultural angle, the Muslim population of the country. Apart from this, a large market for Indian products. We are again exporting a lot to the UAE and to Saudi Arabia and to these countries. So with Make in India, they also act as a new market for our products. Important sea routes when we are exporting our products to the European nation, to other nations. So these countries have a control on different important sea routes. Like Suez Canal is one of them. Like Wala Port, Chabahar Bahar Port, which is in Iran, they have an important control on these routes. So to have free access, unrestricted access to different parts of the world, we need the help of these countries. Out of these countries, one country like Iran, it has a special significance for India. Why I'm naming Iran? Because as I mentioned, few months back, US and Europe, they have imposed sanctions on Iran that no country will buy anything, or especially oil from Iran, because they want Iran not to continue their nuclear program. So to hurt that economy of Iran, they want to stop the economic engagements of different countries with Iran. But how it affects India and what steps India has taken at that particular time? For this, it is very important for us to realize what is the importance of Iran. Again, we are importing oil from Iran. Iran is one of the biggest supplier of oil to India. And another thing is again the cultural angle. In the next slide, we will see one of the main reason of conflicts in Middle East is the violence or the differences between two groups of the Muslims, that is Shia and Sunni. So one such group is Shia, which is in Iran. So India after Iran, they have the second largest Shia population. So that is one cultural linkage. Now if India has the second largest Shia population, how it will affect India? Shias or the Muslims in India, Shia Muslims in India, they considered Iran as their religious leader. So they have this belief that Iran is our religious leader. So if we have good relations with Iran, then definitely we have more, you can say, internal security or more good linkages with the Shia population in India. Another importance for Iran is route to Central Asia market. When we are talking about the Central Asia like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, these countries are important for India from 2-3 angles. First is they are a big market for India. Second, they have the energy resources. So on one side, India is taking energy from Middle East. On second side, they are targeting Asian nations to get energy from these countries. On the third side, they are targeting the Central Asia for access to energy. Now, what is the purpose that India is moving in different directions for the energy? Because they don't want to depend on one group, they don't want to depend on one country. And if they have more competitors, they can have better deal because they will be having more number of options. Second thing, in Central Asian countries, India is doing a lot of investment because in Middle East a lot of investment has already been done. So they are not very much interested for long-term contracts. But in Central Asia, in Asian countries, like poor Vietnam, countries which are comparatively poor like Vietnam, where they don't have their own resources to invest in this kind of thing, India is doing investment. They are having long-term contracts and which will help India in long-term thing. Iran is important. If we just have a look at the red arrow basically, from Mumbai to Iran, we have access to Afghanistan as well as to Central Asia. Equally, Afghanistan is important for India for two angles, because if we have good political relations with Afghanistan, we can help, they can help not to spread terrorism in India, because maybe the factions which are working there, they can move to India. Another thing is that we already have done a lot of investment in the mines of Afghanistan. We have done a lot of investment in the infrastructure of Afghanistan. So to get benefit of this, it is very important for us to have link with Afghanistan, to have access with Afghanistan, and to have good relations with Afghanistan. And similarly, Central Asia, as I mentioned, both for political as well as for the economic reasons, they are important for India. So Iran is one route. One route is through Pakistan, but as we don't have good relations with Pakistan, we are dependent on Iran, because Iran's geopolitical presence in that particular area allows us to have access to both Central Asia and to Afghanistan. And through Central Asia, we can ship our goods to Europe also. So again, one more route if you want to ship our goods to that region. Gas pipeline. One is Tapi gas pipeline, through which we want to import gas from Kazakhstan to India. One is Iran gas pipeline, from where we want to get gas from Iran via Pakistan to India. So with gas pipeline, which is comparatively cheaper source of importing an oil basically, as compared if we are getting it through ships or some other resources. So Iran has good sources for gas and we can easily import gas from Iran. which might be a long-term thing depending on how Pakistan will help us on this particular front. And as I mentioned again and again, market for Indian products out there. So Iran has a special significance for India in the West Asia or the Middle East. So we want to have very good relations with the Iran. In this also, if we have a closer look with these two ports, Gwadar port is part of string of pearls of China. This port have been developed by China in Pakistan. So the purpose of the Gwadar port is, again, just a recap of earlier thing. Through Gwadar port, access of Middle East, Russia can import or export product to Middle East to Gwadar port, and then passing through China, Karakoram highway, and then to China. So this is one link. But if we have a closer look, it's difference of comparison with the Chabahar port. Chabahar port is the port in Iran, which is developed by the Indians. So to counter China, in China developed port in Pakistan and we developed port in Gwadar. But if we see closely, this Gwadar port has more geopolitical significance because it is providing access to Afghanistan, it is providing access to Central Asia also. So Gwadar is for string of pearl facilities and Chabahar is for countering China's string of pearls also. As I was saying that one of the biggest problems in Middle East is the sectarian violence. There are two sects of Muslims, which is the Shia and Sunni, and most of the countries are facing this problem in the sense because of the conflict between these two. There are different problems all over the Middle East. So while seeing what this means, actually there are two factions having differences on the religious front, having differences on the beliefs in the cultural practices, and each group believes that they represent the true face of Muslims. They represent they are the true Muslims, and because of their feeling of this superiority, there are clashes between the two different groups. So if we see the population wise, most of the population, 85 to 90% of the world's population are the Sunni Muslims, and 15% are the Shia Muslims. Now Shia Muslims, which makes the minority, only 15%, they have majority. Like if we see the red countries out here, Iran, Iraq, Yemen, these countries have good Shia population. Like they have majority in Shia population. In Iraq, if we see 63% is Shia population. In Iran, there is 90% Shia population. And apart from all these countries, apart from these 2-3 countries, all the surrounding countries have majority of Shia population, so Sunni population. Now what is happening in the countries where Sunni population is in majority and Shia is in minority? There are clashes between these two groups, where Sunni population want to destroy these people from Sunni population, or they want them to follow the religious practice as well as the culture practice which has been followed by them. And the countries which already have majority of Shia population, they are supporting the minorities in different countries. I hope this picture is clear. It is a bit confusing, but 2-3 countries having Shia population, other countries have minority of Shia population, but they are supporting the minorities in Saudi Arabia, in some other countries. So this is creating a conflict between two different groups. Just assume a case where in a country there are two different groups, one want to have the control of the second group, that is creating a problem, and the second group is getting support from some other countries. So what is the difference? The difference is in their beliefs, in the religious practices, in the traditions, and most importantly, each one believes that they themselves represent the true face of Islam. So just have a quick look on the countries having percentage of its population. Here a very good example is Bahrain. In Bahrain we have 70% of the Shia Muslims and only 30% of the Sunni Muslims. But angle is the monarchy of Bahrain is controlled by this Sunni Muslims. So majority of population is Shia, but controlled by Sunni Muslims. So the Bahrain, which is an ally of Saudi Arabia, which is an ally of US, they want that Iran should not grow. Because if Iran will grow, they will force the change of government in these countries. That way, they will help the minority population of Shia in Saudi Arabia and some other countries, which will create a political issue, which will create an internal issue in the respective countries. Another thing which was happening was in the Middle East was the Syria issue. Syria, as we just discussed, it was part of the Arab world, but they have been removed from the group after the Syria problem. So just to have a look in the Syria issue. Earlier it was Syria, as I mentioned, Syria has a major Sunni population. But Al-Assad, who was the father of the current president, he was a Shia Muslim. So just have a look that majority of population is Sunni population, Sunni Muslims, but headed by a Shia Muslim. So this is not accepted or acceptable to the Saudi Arabia, to the Bahrain and to other countries. So as mentioned, nearly 75% of Syrian population is Sunni Muslims. After the revolution in Tunisia, the Arab Revolution, the color revolution, the Arab Spring, there were demonstrations. As per experts, these demonstrations have been led by or instigated by the West and the Saudi Arabia countries who want to remove the Shia government, because they want, if there is Sunni population, it should be headed by a Sunni government only. So this has resulted, there is a clash again. There is a clash between whom? There is a clash between the government, which is a Shia majority, which is Shia government, and a clash among the protesters. Who are the protesters? Protesters who want to topple this government, who want a government, who want a different government which has been headed by the same ethnicity, the same group of people, that is the Sunni population. As a result, because of this clash, we have seen that Saudi Arabia are US ally. They are targeting Syria, and they are putting bombs and these kind of things on the Syria. So just have a look. US ally who are also the anti-Iran are the Israel, Saudi Arabia and the Arab League. So these are the groups having majority of Sunni population and they are anti-Iran. These two things. Now the third angle comes, what is the problem of Israel with Iran? Because when we are saying on one side Iran is against Saudi Arabia, Iran is against other Arab nations. But when it comes to Israel, Iran is against Israel also. A normal saying is that enemies is your friend basically, but here it is not happening. The second angle to this thing is that when it comes to Israel, there is an informal agreement among all the Arab world, among all the Middle East, that whomsoever will, you can say, defeat the Israel will automatically become the regional superpower. So in the aspiration of Iran to become the regional superpower informally among the Arab world, among the West Asia, Iran has a problem with the Israel. This is a biggest, if you have a look at the issues in the Middle East, that will create some kind of a confusion. Like if Iran has problem with other things, why they have a problem with Israel? The issue is to gain the regional superiority, to have the regional superiority in the particular thing. As we were talking about the Israel issue, one of the biggest issue in the Middle East is the Israel versus Palestine issue. In the recent past, we have heard there was kind of a small war which have been broke out between the Israel and Palestine. So before getting into that particular thing and how it affects India, it is very important to first understand what the issue is all about. Issue is about even before the Second World War, there is a demand from Jews all over the world who have been scattered to different countries of the world that they should have one country where they can have their own settlements. In 1933 and in Second World War, there is a large-scale persecution of Jews by the Germans, which have resulted in large number of refugees. So the British have decided, because Palestine is already the colony of British. So the Britain and the European nations, they have decided to make a small region in the Palestine region itself for the Jews. So already Muslims are living in the Palestine region. Britain decided to make a separate region for Jews in that particular region. But again, that is not accepted by the people living in that area. So Arab resettlement, British hoped for peaceful coexistence of Jews and Arab states. They thought that once Jews will be put in that area, they will have their separate areas and they both live peacefully. But it has not happened. Why it has not happened? Let's see. Because of these issues, the people in Palestine, they have reported their problem to the United Nations. In United Nations, they passed a resolution under which the Palestine, they will be divided into two areas. One will be for the Israel and second will be for the Arab nations, or second will be for the people of Palestine. And they will make a separate Jerusalem which will have a equal access or equal control of both the countries, which is like an international center. The Arab nations, the nations which are in the Middle East, in the Arab nations, they opposed this particular thing and they went on a small war with Israel, but Israel ultimately won that war and it has resulted in the creation of the Israel in 1948. When UN has decided that the area will be equally divided or area will be divided among both the groups, so just have a look. The green area, this is the area which have been given to the Israel, and the orange area, it has been given to the Palestine. So this was the demarcation which have been proposed by the UN for settling the issue between between Israel and Palestine. But what happened in 1967? There was a war between Arab nations and Israel. Because of, during this war, again Israel defeated these countries and they got control of some of the areas which have been initially given to the Palestine by the UN. So what are these areas? These areas are the Gaza Strip, West Bank, which have originally been given to the Palestine region. So now even today, technically, politically, Israel has a control on these regions, and that is the biggest issue between Israel and Palestine. So to counter Israel domination, there are two groups, Hamas and Fatah, which became part of PLO. They become the militant groups and they started terrorism and terrorist activities in the Israel. So over a period of time, for the last 30-40 years, this thing is going on where Israel, where the Palestinian groups, they are targeting Israel countries, the Israel people, they are targeting Israeli infrastructure and they want their control on the Gaza Strip and the West Bank, actually the areas which have been initially given to the Palestine. But Israel wants their own control in this particular region. So this is the basic issue. What is the how this issue originated and what is the current scenario? Now, what is happening? Initially, Israel is a big time ally of US and West. So US always supported Israel, and at the same time, various European nations, they are also in support of Israel. But over a period of time, they are equally supporting Palestine also, primarily on the point of human rights, because they feel that whenever Israel is attacking Palestine, they are doing it in a wrong way, and it is against the human rights of the people of Palestine. So in this particular, over a period of time, what happened is that UNESCO recognized Palestine, 13 countries vote, they recognized the government of Palestine. Increasing support of Palestine, as I mentioned, in Europe, which was earlier primarily was in favor of Israel, they are slowly getting more in favor of Palestine. So what happened last year? In last year, Hamas and Fatah was primarily now become a part of PLO. They joined hands. Now PLO is a peaceful organization, is a peaceful group, whereas Hamas is a terrorist group. Whenever Israel attacks Palestine, they attack basically the Hamas group, but under the name, or you can say in the name of Hamas, they are targeting the complete Palestine. So Israel is not very much happy with them both coming up with the same and forming a unity government. And in the pretext of that Hamas has attacked few people, Israeli people. They have declared a war on Palestine itself. So just to recap, what happened in 2014 is both the groups, one terrorist group, one peaceful group, they joined hands. At the same times, at world level, there is increasing recognition for the Palestine. With both the activities, Israel is not happy because they are feeling that we are getting sidelined. Israel is getting sidelined. So there was some attack on few Israeli people in the Gaza Strip, and in the retaliation, Israel attacked complete Palestine. So that was the issue, and I hope few months back there were a lot of issues, there were a lot of support which are coming from Indian Muslims also for the people living in Palestine. Ultimately, there was a peace deal signed between Egypt and between Israel and Palestine with the intermediation of Egypt. Now, why this important? Why these both countries are important for India? That is important, and how it affects India. As we see,
Is Jerusalem still an international center or is it in Israel?
sorry.
Jerusalem is still an international center?
No. In fact, all those areas, as I mentioned, they already have taken the areas of Palestine, and Jerusalem is again fully control of Israel. Now, India, both of the countries are equally important. Why equally important?